Listen to me, before you can change your life, you've got to change the way you think. Everything starts in the mind. Everything you've ever accomplished, everything you've ever failed at, it all came down to what was going on in your head. You can't expect to live like a champion when you think like a victim. You can't expect to win when your mind has already accepted defeat before you even stepped on the field. Your mind is the control tower of your life, and if you don't learn how to command it, then you're going to be controlled by everything outside of you. I need you to understand this. Life doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to how you think. That's why two people can grow up in the same neighborhood, in the same school, with the same struggles, but one makes it out and the other doesn't. It wasn't the environment, it was the mindset. One said, this situation is going to define me. And the other said, this situation is going to refine me. And that small shift, that one thought, it changes everything. Your mind has the power to create the reality you live in. If you wake up saying, I'm not enough, I'll never get out of this situation, life's too hard, then your actions are going to follow that script. You won't even try because you've already lost in your head. But if you wake up and tell yourself, I got a shot, I got a chance, I might not know how, but I'm going to figure it out, then your body starts moving in alignment with that belief. And once your body moves, your habits change, your choices change, and your results change. You've got to start guarding your thoughts like your life depends on it, because it does. Most of you let anything and everything into your mind. You let negativity sit there and grow roots. You let doubt camp out. You let fear run wild. And then you wonder why you can't move forward. You can't plant weeds in your mind and expect roses to grow. You can't keep repeating failure, 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 and expect to walk into success. The words you speak and the thoughts you repeat those things, and sooner or later they grow into your reality. I remember being in moments where it looked impossible, times where I wanted to quit, where everything around me said stop. And I had to learn something powerful. My environment didn't determine my outcome, my mindset did. I had to make a decision in my mind that no matter what it looked like, no matter how I felt, I wasn't going to let my circumstances dictate my future. You've got to make that decision. You've got to decide that the world doesn't get to tell you who you are. Your situation doesn't get to define what you become. Your mind has to lead, not follow. See, most of you let your mind follow your feelings. You're only motivated when you feel good. You only push when it's easy. You only commit when it's convenient. But when you have a strong mindset, your thoughts lead your feelings. Your mindset says, I don't care how I feel. I don't care what it looks like. I don't care who doubts me. I know who I am. I know what I'm capable of. And I will not stop until I see it. That kind of mindset breaks chains. That kind of mindset turns impossible into possible. And don't get it twisted. It's not about ignoring reality. It's about reshaping reality. It's about seeing the same storm everybody else sees but deciding, I'm not going to drown in this. I'm going to learn how to swim in it. It's about facing the same mountain everybody else faces and saying, I'm not going to stand here and complain. I'm going to climb it step by step. Mindset doesn't erase the challenge. It gives you the strength to overcome it. Think about the greatest champions you know. The difference isn't talent, it isn't resources, it isn't luck. It's mindset. Some of the most successful people on this planet didn't start with money. They didn't start with connections. They didn't start with privilege. What they started with was a mind that refused to quit. A mind that refused to accept average. A mind that refused to let the world dictate their destiny. They trained their thoughts to see opportunities where others saw obstacles. They trained their beliefs to keep moving when others gave up. And over time, that mindset created a reality most people only dream of. You've got to decide today, what kind of reality do you want? Because your mind is writing the blueprint. If your thoughts are small, your life is going to be small. If your thoughts are negative, your life is going to reflect negativity. But if your thoughts are bold, if your thoughts are focused, if your thoughts are disciplined, your life is going to expand to match that. You can't cheat this. You can't live a big life with a small mindset. You can't think like a prisoner and live like a king. So I'm telling you right now, shift your thoughts. Stop replaying the failures. Stop letting fear drive. Stop letting doubt make decisions for you. Every single day, you've got to feed your mind the right things. You've got to speak life even when life looks like death. You've got to believe in the vision even when there's no evidence. Because once your mind accepts it, your body will follow and your reality will shift. And I need you to catch this. It doesn't happen overnight. You don't just flip a switch. This is work. Every single day, you've got to train your mind like an athlete trains their body. You've got to challenge the negative thoughts. You've got to reject the lies. You've got to rehearse the truth until it becomes second nature. And when you do that long enough, your mind becomes a weapon against fear, a weapon against mediocrity, a weapon against anything that tries to stop you. Your mindset is the soil and your life is the harvest. You can't blame the fruit if you planted the wrong seed. So plant differently, think differently, speak differently, live differently, because your reality will always rise to the level of your mindset. That's why I keep telling you, if you want to change your life, you've got to change your mind first. Everybody in this room has faced obstacles. Everybody has been hit with something that made them question if they could keep going. You're not the only one who feels tired, who feels like the weight of the world is on your shoulders. You're not the only one who's cried at night wondering why it had to be this hard. But here's the difference between those who make it and those who don't. Some people see those obstacles as a reason to stop, and others see them as the fuel to keep going. The obstacle is not the end, it's the beginning of your breakthrough. You've got to shift how you see struggle. Most of you think because life punched you in the mouth, that means you're disqualified. You think because the road got rough, you're supposed to quit. But I need you to catch this. The obstacle isn't there to break you, it's there to build you. The obstacle is the training ground. The obstacle is the fire that shapes your character. You don't grow when everything is smooth. You grow when life forces you to stretch beyond your limits. I've watched people quit at the first sign of resistance. And then I've watched others face the same resistance and use it as a stepping stone. What's the difference? Mindset. One person says, "This is too much for me." The other says, "If it's in front of me, it must mean I'm built for it." You've got to start seeing challenges as evidence that you're moving in the right direction. If there were no obstacles, you wouldn't be growing. If there were no resistance, you wouldn't need strength. The presence of the obstacle means there's something worth fighting for on the other side. Think about it. Every great story you've ever heard, every hero you've ever admired, they didn't get there because it was easy. They got there because they refused to let the obstacles stop them. They didn't avoid the storm. They learned how to navigate through it. They didn't give up when the door slammed shut. They found another door, or they built one. That's what makes a champion, not the absence of obstacles, but the refusal to be defeated by them. I remember times when life felt like it was stacked against me. I had moments where I thought, "This is it, I can't go any further." But then something clicked. I realized that the pain I was going through was teaching me something. The closed doors were redirecting me. The failures were preparing me. That's when I learned that the obstacle is not my enemy, it's my teacher. It's the thing that sharpens me, that pushes me, that makes me who I'm supposed to be. You've got to take that mindset and apply it to your life. When you lose a job, don't see it as the end, see it as a chance to build a new path. When a relationship breaks, don't see it as a reason to give up on love, see it as an opportunity to discover your worth. When your dream doesn't work out the way you planned, don't throw it away, adjust, adapt, and come back stronger. Because every obstacle carries within it the seed of opportunity, but only those who are willing to keep moving will find it. See, the problem is most of you are asking for a smooth road. You're praying for life to be easy, but easy doesn't change you. Easy doesn't teach you discipline. Easy doesn't prepare you for greatness. Easy makes you soft. It's the obstacles that make you tough. It's the obstacles that make you resilient. It's the obstacles that prepare you for the next level. And if you can shift your perspective, if you can stop running from the struggle and start embracing it, you'll find out that the obstacle was never in the way. It was the way. Think about a diamond. A diamond doesn't become a diamond without pressure. Think about gold. Gold doesn't shine until it's been through fire. So why do you think you're going to shine without going through your own fire? Why do you think you're going to be valuable without going through your own pressure? The obstacle is the process that transforms you. Without it, you remain ordinary. With it, you become extraordinary. I need you to stop complaining about the struggle and start thanking it. I need you to stop looking at your pain like punishment and start seeing it as preparation. Because once you flip that switch in your mind, everything changes. You'll stop being afraid of setbacks because you'll know that setbacks set you up for comebacks. You'll stop being afraid of rejection because you'll know that rejection redirects you to where you're supposed to be. You'll stop being afraid of failure because you'll know that failure is the classroom where success is taught. This is what separates the winners from the quitters. The winners learn how to use the obstacle. They don't just survive it, they leverage it. They use the pain as motivation. They use the difficulty as discipline. They use the rejection as redirection. And when everybody else is quitting, they're still moving, fueled by the very thing that was supposed to stop them. That's why they succeed. So the next time life knocks you down, don't stay down. Get up and tell yourself, this is fuel, this is energy, this is making me stronger. The next time you hit a wall, don't turn around, find a way over it, under it, or through it. Because every obstacle you overcome adds power to your story. Every battle you survive adds strength to your character. The obstacle doesn't take away from you. It gives to you if you let it. You've got to make a decision that nothing will stop you. Not fear, not failure, not doubt, not difficulty. You've got to decide that you're going to turn every obstacle into fuel and every setback into a setup for the next chapter of your life. And when you do that, you'll realize the truth. Obstacles were never meant to break you. They were meant to build you. Everybody loves motivation. Everybody loves that hype, that fire, that moment when you feel like you can run through a wall. Motivation feels good. It gets your blood pumping. It makes you believe you can do anything for a moment. But let me be real with you. Motivation fades. Motivation is like a spark, and if you don't have something stronger to keep that fire burning, it dies out. That's why I'm telling you discipline will always be greater than motivation, because motivation gets you started, but discipline keeps you going. Motivation is an emotion, discipline is a decision. Motivation depends on how you feel, discipline depends on who you are. When you're disciplined, it doesn't matter if you're tired, it doesn't matter if you're not in the mood, it doesn't matter if nobody's watching. You show up anyway. That's the difference between people who dream and people who achieve. Too many of you are addicted to motivation. You wait for the perfect video, the perfect speech, the perfect moment to feel inspired. You keep waiting to feel like it before you move. But listen to me, if you only work when you're motivated, you're going to lose because you're not always going to feel like it. Success doesn't ask how you feel. Success asks if you're consistent, and consistency comes from discipline, not motivation. Think about it. Everybody gets motivated at the beginning of the year. Everybody's got resolutions. The gym is packed in January. People are writing goals, making promises, posting visions, but by February, by March, most of them are gone. Why? Because motivation wore off, but the ones who stay, the ones who keep showing up day after day, whether they feel like it or not, that's discipline. And those are the people who see results. Discipline is doing what needs to be done even when you don't want to do it. Discipline is getting up early when the bed feels too good. Discipline is studying when the game is on, saving money when you want to spend it, practicing when everybody else is partying. Discipline is sacrifice, and most people want success without sacrifice. They want the reward without the grind. But life doesn't work that way. If you want it, you've got to pay for it with discipline, and don't get it twisted. Discipline doesn't feel good in the moment. It's not supposed to. Discipline feels uncomfortable. Discipline feels boring. Discipline feels like pain sometimes. But it's temporary pain that leads to permanent results. Motivation gives you a high for a day, but discipline builds habits that last a lifetime. And once discipline becomes a habit, you don't even have to think about it anymore. You just do it. That's when the game changes. I need you to look at your life and ask yourself, are you living on motivation or on discipline? Because if you're living on motivation, that means your success is unpredictable. You're up one day, down the next. You're consistent for a week, gone for a month. But if you're living on discipline, it doesn't matter how you feel. You're steady, you're reliable, you're locked in. And steady always wins the race. Look at athletes, look at champions. They don't become great because they were motivated every day. You think Kobe Bryant got up at 4 a.m. every morning because he felt like it. You think Serena Williams practiced for hours on end because she was motivated every single day. No, they did it because they were disciplined. They had a standard and they lived by it whether they felt like it or not. That's the mindset that separates legends from the rest. Some of you are talented, some of you are gifted, but you're inconsistent because you rely on motivation. And talent without discipline will never reach its full potential. Discipline takes what you're good at and turns it into greatness. Discipline takes a dream and turns it into reality, and until you learn to prioritize discipline over motivation, you're always going to fall short. So stop waiting for the feeling. Stop waiting to be motivated. Start building discipline. Start with small habits. Wake up on time. Keep your word. Do what you said you would do long after the mood you said it in has left you. That's how you build discipline, repetition, consistency, accountability. And the more you practice discipline, the stronger it gets. There's a reason why most people quit and a few people win. The winners have discipline. The quitters rely on motivation. Motivation says, I'll do it when I feel like it. Discipline says, I'll do it regardless. Motivation says, I'll try. Discipline says, I'll commit. Motivation gets excited about the start. Discipline stays locked in until the finish, and I need you to hear me on this. Discipline is freedom. It doesn't limit you, it liberates you. Because when you're disciplined, you're not controlled by your feelings. You're not a slave to your mood. You're in control. You decide. You own your actions. And that kind of freedom, that's what creates power, that's what creates success, that's what creates a life worth living. So the next time you don't feel like it, the next time you want to quit, remind yourself, this is the moment that separates me from the rest. Anybody can move when it's easy. Anybody can grind when it feels good. But only the disciplined keep going when it's hard. And that's what makes the difference. Motivation will get you started, but discipline will finish the job. Motivation will give you a spark, but discipline will keep the fire burning. Motivation will push you for a day, but discipline will carry you for a lifetime. Most people live their whole lives trapped, not because they don't have potential, not because they don't have talent, but because their mindset keeps them in chains. The difference between being stuck and being unstoppable isn't your background, it isn't your resources, it isn't even your circumstances. It's your mindset. If you believe you're done, if you believe you've reached your limit, if you believe you can't change, then guess what? You're right. But if you adopt a growth mindset, if you choose to believe there's always another level, always another lesson, always another way, then there's no limit to what you can do. See, a fixed mindset will trap you. A fixed mindset will tell you, this is who you are, this is all you'll ever be, this is as far as you can go. A fixed mindset will make you fear failure because you think failure defines you. It will make you jealous of others because you think their success diminishes you. A fixed mindset closes doors, but a growth mindset opens doors you didn't even know existed. A growth mindset doesn't see failure as the end. It sees failure as feedback. It doesn't see challenges as threats. It sees them as opportunities. A growth mindset believes that with work, with learning, with persistence, you can always grow. And when you carry that belief, nothing can stop you. I need you to stop looking at your life like it's set in stone. Too many of you walk around saying, I'm not smart enough, I'm not talented enough, I wasn't born with it. And that mindset keeps you small, but let me tell you the truth, everything can be developed, skills can be learned. Talents can be sharpened, abilities can be improved. Nobody is born at the finish line, everybody has to run the race. And if you're willing to learn, if you're willing to fail, if you're willing to get back up again and again, there is no ceiling on your life. Think about a child learning how to walk. They fall 100 times, they stumble, they trip, they bump into everything. But not once does that child say, walking isn't for me. Not once does that child say, I guess I'll just crawl for the rest of my life. They keep getting up. They keep trying because their mindset says, I can figure this out. That's the growth mindset. And somewhere along the way, as we grow older, we lose it. We start to believe failure means stop. We start to believe setbacks mean turn back. But if you want to live a life without limits, you've got to get that childlike growth mindset back. Let me be real with you. Growth mindset isn't about pretending things are easy. It's about knowing things are hard, but still believing you can get better. It's about walking into situations you've never faced and saying, I may not know how today, but I can learn. It's about looking at people who are ahead of you and instead of being jealous saying, if they can do it, then I can too, if I'm willing to put in the work. That's the mindset that will take you places you never imagined. When you carry a growth mindset, you stop running from failure because you realize failure is the classroom where success is taught. You stop fearing challenges because you understand challenges build strength. You stop comparing yourself to others because you know the only competition is who you were yesterday. And when you think like that, there is no finish line, there's always another level, there's always room to grow. That's why people with growth mindsets keep rising while everybody else stays stuck. Look around, technology changes, industries change, the world changes every single day. And the people who thrive are the ones who adapt, who learn, who grow. The ones who stay fixed, who refuse to change, they get left behind. So, if you want to live a limitless life, you've got to train your mind to grow. You've got to be willing to learn what you don't know, to try what you've never tried, to step into rooms that intimidate you, to surround yourself with people who stretch you. Because the moment you think you've arrived, the moment you think you've got it all figured out, that's the moment you stop growing. I need you to catch this. Your brain is like a muscle. The more you use it, the more you challenge it, the stronger it gets. If you avoid struggle, if you avoid discomfort, if you avoid anything that makes you stretch, you stay weak. But if you lean into it, if you push through, if you practice, learn, fail, and try again, you grow stronger. And with that growth, new doors open. Opportunities that once looked impossible start to look doable. Goals that once seemed out of reach start to feel inevitable. That's the power of a growth mind, that it turns the impossible into possible. So stop saying I can't. Start saying how can I? Stop saying I don't know. Start saying I can learn. Stop saying that's not me. Start saying that can be me if I put in the work. That shift in language, that shift in perspective, it might seem small, but it changes everything. Because when your mindset expands, your world expands. The people who change history, the ones who leave legacies, they're not the ones who never failed, they're the ones who never stopped growing. They treated every setback as a lesson, every challenge as training, every failure as preparation. They kept asking, what's next? How do I grow from this? And because of that, they created lives without limits. And I'm telling you right now, the same is possible for you. You don't have to be trapped by where you started. You don't have to be stuck in the same patterns. You don't have to be defined by your past. With a growth mindset, every single day becomes a chance to rise, to learn, to expand, to create a bigger and better version of yourself. Because at the end of the day, the only limits that exist are the ones you place on your mind. And when you choose growth, when you choose to see every obstacle as a lesson, every failure as feedback, every day as an opportunity, you create a life with no ceiling. That's why I keep telling you, your growth mindset creates limitless possibilities.